Peace and blessings and keep up the lessons. This is your, you know who, Crypto B-Boy coming at you. And got a little things going on. If you notice, I got popped up already. I don't have that much time because I was supposed to be going out with my family. Got her ironing in the background. If you see a little hissing stuff. But it's okay. It's all good. Part of the hood. You know what I mean? We all good in the hood. But anyway, I want to bring you some stuff with my man T. T's crypto spot, and he has his spot as well that has been promoted on Twitter, and he has his own Twitter space. So he's done the Twitter space, and it was called messaging. This is the topic, messaging and crypto, right? What happens in the future in random crypto talk. But just want to let you get into what he's talking about. It's very, very interesting. And so let's get in. You ready? All right. Are you ready? Let's get it. Okay. So he also had other guests. He had Quincy up there. He had Scams. He had other people that got to speak. I didn't listen all the way through, but I listened to the points of what I wanted to speak on and get into really, really seriously because it's a serious matter. But let him speak, and we'll listen to what he's saying, and we'll take it from there. All right, guys. So just check in, give me a minute, and then let's go.
And uh, as they feel, and like I said, if you want to just hop up on the stage and give your perspectives on some of the stuff that's been happening in the space, feel free to do so. So in the meantime, because I know it'll probably take a while before we start getting those requests in for people to hop on the stage and speak, there was an interesting document posted today regarding interoperability between crypto and messaging. And this kind of there are several people. I don't want to even just target one person on this space. For the past, I'd say probably about close to 3 years, I've been challenged on my perspective that messaging would essentially interoperate with crypto. And I never.
And let's see if you guys know who this person is. I mean, I really want to put them out there, but I'm not at this time because I'm just gonna let things go and see how things go from any backlash that comes. But of course, I got my man T's back on it, and he's right, and I bore witness to these coming at him and questioning his understanding and his point of view and perspectives on this matter. And this person was like, and it's crazy because arrogance is a mental disorder. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter whether you're a woman or a man. Arrogance is a mental disorder. It can be with anybody. It doesn't matter what color you are. It is whatever. And you got to be very mindful about what you say because especially now in media and social media, everything is recorded or it can go back. People can go back. It's archived or what have you. And you can check and see what a person said and what they were doing. And then later on they come and bring something else out. So let us continue and let him speak. All right.
Never really understood the battle behind that or why people were so adamant on saying that, well, the two have nothing to do with one another. They're going to operate in separate realms, and there will never be any interoperability between them because there's interoperability between them now, right? So, and this is, like I said, it's a little redundant because it's something that I've touched on for years, right? Before people were even talking about this, before crypto ISO 20022 interop, which was announced by XRP Ledger developers, hit the streets late last year. This is something that I've always believed in because it wouldn't make sense for the two to not interoperate when you have a system that is sending a fin message to another institution, and there's something that has to follow it up essentially to make sure that the actual movement of value happens, right? It wouldn't make sense to send a message and say in the message, you're going to receive $50 billion from me, and then that layer doesn't communicate with the layer that moves the actual value, right? You see where I'm going with this? So it's I always thought it was silly, when people, offered those arguments that the two weren't going to have anything to do with one another. And then, oddly enough, we started seeing the digital token identifier information come out. And regarding that, what's interesting is the identity LTD patent that me and even Kurt had touched on regarding interoperability.
And make it clear and know that it was T and Kurt was talking about this before that person or people, as he said, decided to, start putting posts up and packaging it the way they wanted to look, and that it was their own. As he said in one of his tweets, T said himself, and I'm just going behind. I'm just like kind of going behind and critiquing the whole thing and seeing how, and just posting it out there into the social media realm of YouTube space so that you can see for yourself, because this person or people are YouTube influencers and are YouTube content creators, or is it their content? You know what I mean? And this is my thing, is that certain people, and I'm saying the names right now, I'm not ready for that, but your big bro, Crypto B-Boy, when the time is right, I may do it. Because the point is that what it's doing is creating a lot of more dissension and issues. And, when we trying to just educate people from what we know, what we learn, and I have people that follow me. I don't have a big following. I'm not these big type of influencers and YouTube and all that. We know that. Many people know that. That's fine and dandy. I'm doing my thing, but I put out there the information that some people do take and some people do appreciate. And don't forget to subscribe to your bro, all right? And also click the like button for that reason. I appreciate those of you who are subscribed. But the basic thing is that I don't just like try to leave people out of the thing, or say, I'm sorry, I popped that up. I don't leave people out of the awareness because they're particular people or their particular group or they're of a particular project. I'm a neutral and contrarian type of investor, and I want to help others as well as myself. I'm not this type of person, and T is that way, Quincy's that way, Kirk is like that, all the other people, Bags is like that, and he's from Ripple, and he comes in and he's very neutral. What's his name? Neil Hartner. Um, Even Matt, sometimes he gets a little rigid, but he's neutral. He wants to bring stuff out. They're not, on just one side of the page of this whole thing in the crypto space, and they're going to put out what they feel about something and their opinions. But when you go and you put yourself in a position and you want to go up against somebody that you have an argument of that point of what you're talking about, whether it's messaging and the DTI, outcome of things, of people starting to realize what its process is, what it's able to do, like T is explaining. And I'm gonna finish up because I'm just expounding on it, and that's my purpose of this video. That you can go also and listen and continue to listen in the recording because it's there. You can find it on his tweet space or tweet spot, which would be his account, right? And you can also listen as well all the way through and listen to the other speakers, because I'm not going to really let you in this video. I don't want it to go too long because I got to get ready to go. But the point is, I just want you to know that this is not good. This has to stop. And people who do this, they want to argue a situation, boom, 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 and then later on, when the truth comes out, now they want to get the credit for it. And I want to show you and let you know what I mean. You know what I mean? Let me just show you and post that up. Okay, so you can do your own, you can see it right there. This is the tweet, okay? And I'm not saying their name, but they're being posted. So you can go on that on your own, okay? Because you can't say I said, but the post is there. So, I'm just going to give you that because it's showing it, okay? And it's saying this list of native tokens, native digital tokens that have applied, passed, and issued a unique token, a digital token identifier, DTI, right, to be used in the new ISO 222 messaging format is over 100, right? This is all the information. Then they show the downloadable. I guess this is part where you can view the format, right? Viewable in the format of whatever, and you can see it and so forth, right? So the point is that I'm saying, and this is not somebody, this is not just the one person. Like he said, there are other people that have been doing this, and this has got to stop. This has really got to stop. So I'm gonna let you listen to T a little bit more. All right, hold on for a second, and then we're gonna close out. And I might be doing a second video to connect to this to get into the other statements that were spoken on, like Quincy spoke, and he brought some breakdown like he always does, my man, and then you had Scams, he spoke, and others. But anyway, let's get it.
Showed a scenario where you would essentially have two different types of servers. Well, a few different types of servers, right? You'd have some intermediary servers, you'd have a token server, and you'd have a messaging server. And the DTI would likely fall somewhere in between the token server and the messaging server to assist, and the other one identifying the proper token to attach itself to the message for corresponding function. For example, let's say you have a token server and you have a messaging server, and we'll take Swift. This is purely hypothetical, right? Like this hasn't happened yet, but let's say Swift decided, okay, for DLT, obviously we're testing multiple mechanisms out for interoperability with DLT environments. So we're going to adopt Chainlink, right? And they adopt Chainlink, and Chainlink essentially allows them to now interface with an EDLT that they choose. Well, let's say Swift ultimately wanted to perform a cross-border transaction, right? And so the message would generate at the messaging server. And let's say there's a DTI, which is another ISO standard that's attached to that token server that tells it essentially, hey, there's going to be a message coming up here for a cross-border payment. So you need to interoperate with this and attach the corresponding token to that message's function, hop on the Chainlink bridge, and then, be disseminated out to whatever corresponding DLT is going to handle that transaction, right? Like I said, totally hypothetical in nature because it hasn't happened yet. But when I saw that, and then I realized that Identity Ltd was a Swift and a Ripple partner, or they've worked with Swift and Ripple, I should say, it kind of got my ears perked up a little bit. And so prior, like I said, to the crypto ISO 20022 interop project being even announced, I had done whiteboards on this and said, I don't fully, at that time, a lot of information hadn't come out yet, but I knew that those two layers were going to have to interoperate at some point. Like I said, and anyone in here who's, involved in finance already knows that those two layers speak to one another, right? And I've had people tell me, T, you don't know what you're talking about. That's never going to happen. The two have nothing to do with one another. I think what gets lost in translation here, and what happens a lot of times, is people hear ISO 20022 and hear crypto, and they immediately get over it, and they just ISO is a global de facto messaging standard. It has absolutely nothing to do with a cryptocurrency, and it's not ISO compliant, and this, that, and the third. I think they're negating potential interoperability and automatically jumping to the conclusion that people are saying that cryptocurrencies themselves are ISO. And so, to clarify that, we already know what an ISO standard is. All right. An ISO standard for a message is going to apply to a message. An ISO standard for shampoo is going to apply to the shampoo, not the conditioner that you would use alongside the shampoo. Like, we already know that, right? But like I said, that doesn't negate the fact that there's going to be interoperability between the two. And this goes back to one of the most basic comparisons, I should say, that I've used before regarding this, right? Internet connectivity, right? So if I'm setting up, let's say we're setting up a network, right? We're setting up a LAN at work. I'm not going to go and take someone's work machine and plug it directly into a Cisco switch. for internet connectivity. That's I don't want to say that's stupid, but
Now he knows about those terms, and he knows the language of the equipment, or the software, whether hardware or software they use, or ITs use when they're doing their networks, right, or building the networks, or working on the network, fixing it, so forth, whatever. I know about a little bit about IT. I wanted to get into that, but due to my time and whatever, I just didn't go that way. But anyway, I do have some information and knowledge about it, so I know what he's kind of talking about. That term I don't recall, but anyway, the process I understand. Now, the thing I wanted to cut off into is to say that he gets into more stuff that deals with what the ridiculousness that these people do with the argumentation, and then later on they submit, and then they want to take credit. So that's the point that I wanted to bring. But we'll let you listen to him maybe in the next video if I can. But I'm gonna kind of speed up. Let me see if I can speed it up a little bit. Hold on for a second, and you can listen as well. You can hear the other, go on your own and do your own due diligence and listen to him, and then make your own, discretion, or judgment on what he's saying in relation to that he's right or wrong. If you believe so, that's up to you. And if you want to comment in the comment space, it's fine. Go ahead. I'm here for you to answer. As long as you're not throwing any insults towards me, or even to anybody like that, then because I'm gonna respond back. But you're open to do whatever and say whatever, as long as it's respectable, and if it's some disagreement of what you're hearing and you're thinking, or so forth, or question, that so forth. But also they had Audacious Investor, if I'm saying his name right, and he asked a good question, and then it led into Quincy answering, and I would like to get to that if I can. So let me see if I can, because it was very key. But I might do it in the second video. But matter of fact, we're gonna let T finish up, and then the second video I will see about the other people speaking, and if it's points that I want to hit on that relate to this, okay, relates to my position taking and my perspective of what has been going on and what is going on, like T is saying, and I guess this might have inspired him to bring it out. He can say that for himself and so forth. He might have said that, but some stuff he also said, and he got on the issue a little more rigidly later as he goes.
that just that doesn't make sense, right? That's not how networks are built, right? There are several degrees of separation in between your workstation and the actual internet connectivity, right? And I'm talking all the way down to, let's say we're in the Pacific Northwest, down to infrastructure that's set up in San Diego that we all operate off of, that's attached to DISA, right? Like that's how far it goes. But in the interim, like let's say we're talking about just localized connectivity, right? If the internet on my machine goes out, right, I'm not going to go to the switch immediately, right? There's several paths to get there, right? So number one, and this is very basic, is your Ethernet cable frayed? Is it plugged into the machine properly? Is it plugged into the drop properly? Is there any physical damage to the drop? Okay, if there's not, the cord's good. You've replaced it. You've checked it out. You're still getting amber lights only, and it doesn't work.
Now he's using hardware as a scenario, and creating a scenario. So if you're following and you comprehend it, that's good. If you don't, and ask questions, go to him, go to his tweet, and tweet him, and he will be gladly to answer, I'm sure, or what have you.
Now you can go into the CLI and try to ping it, right? If you have the machine's workstation name. And if you're not getting a response or any packets, then what do you do then, right? Now you're obviously going to have to maybe take it a step further and go into your network settings and see, if you operate off of a network bridge, check some stuff in there, right, for IPv4. Right.
So pretty much what I take from this is that he's trying to say, basically, for those on a simple level, is that because his level is the language he's bringing with IT and techs that deal with that in that area, and they understand it probably better. But from what I'm taking from it, with a little bit of understanding, that troubleshooting, first off, that's what they're known for doing. If they're dealing with issues, if an issue comes and this doesn't work, then they're going to go to the next thing by troubleshooting the next process or the next maneuver that they can do to get this system to work right. And in relation to messaging is that this connection that even Audacious Investor asked a very good question. I think it was an excellent question. He asked that, and Quincy hit it. I don't know who else went after Quincy and spoke on it. I think T spoke on it, but it was wonderful because it gave a little more openness of the people to see, okay, what are we dealing with? We're dealing with messaging systems, and this messaging system has its protocols, has its process. It's going to work this way. And then if it doesn't, now there's other paths or other things that are going to be used to make sure that it goes through and functions, because that's why they do the pilots. That's why they do the testing, because they want to see the outcome. Yeah, right? Am I correct? If I'm wrong, then comment in the comment section and tell me I'm wrong, and then we'll go from there. All right, I'll respond. Okay, so anyway, I'm gonna leave it at that, and we're gonna go on because this is juicy. And I'm not saying juicy because I want all the views, and I'm Mr. Crypto. I'm all in the Hollywood space with this. No, this is about getting stuff correct and getting things out in the open and clearing the space and cleaning up this stuff, because this stuff is ridiculous. All this back and forth, and T, he's a cool mannered guy. He can come off hot, but I say he's holding back. You know what I'm saying? And that's why he doesn't like to go into the spot from my position that I see from him, which is good, because that's a quality that even me as a Muslim, I try to stay away from areas where it's volatile and it's gonna get me riled up, because I'm an emotional person. I'm a passionate person, especially against evil and harm and arrogance and people who think that they can overrule over people. This bullying stuff. I don't tolerate that stuff. I used to, back in my time, always had to go. I was born as the only first son and child of my parents, and became to be the oldest of them. So who big brothers did I have? None, but maybe my uncles, right? That were close in age with me, my mother's brothers. Other than that, it was me by myself against the world. I had to battle on my own. Short dude in the block, somebody, I had to deal with them by myself. When the same time, gang banging stuff too, had people come and jump me, and my crew wasn't with me. I had to fight it off myself. Bullies. So we know, and I myself know, that bullies are in the space. That's why, if you listen to T, he said the streets, before stuff got on the streets. We call it the crypto streets. The clubhouse, sessions that used to be going on, they called it the crypto streets, those crypto streets. You know what I mean? And YouTube streets. You got all of that because the way that the people carry themselves. The way that they carry themselves. They act like this. People coming into spaces and setting people up and trying to get them in corners and corner them with messages and stuff in that. Or you got the crypto influencers talking their stuff, and then they argue back, and they put somebody on to speak, and then if that person has a disagreement with them, they want to argue and act like they know what they're talking about, make that person look like he don't know what he's talking about, to prompt up their views and to prop up their position in the YouTube space. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not stupid. I'm 53 years old. I haven't been in this thing. Just came in. Oh well, what's going on, everybody? No, we're not from that. And T is a respectable dude. He don't go there. And I don't try to go there myself, but it gets to a point where it has to be addressed. And that's what I'm doing here, people. So I'm going to leave it like that. I appreciate it. And the next one, stay with me, subscribe. Don't forget to click the like button, share this video out so we can get it out and get people to realize that this stuff has got to stop. And for me, my position, T might not want to do it. He's not into that, going back and forth and getting volatile unless he really has to. We've seen it and we've heard him in his videos sometimes when he really called my people up. You might call somebody out, but he'll come behind, and he just doesn't like that stuff. He's not with it. But me, I'm not with it, but if you get me with it, I'm gonna get with it. That's how I am. I'm a defensive person. I'm not offensive. I won't come at you for nothing. But if you do stuff, and the people that I bond with, and I do my thing. I mean, I haven't even shook my man's hand yet, but I know his genuine way about him from just how he carries himself. And the other brothers and the other people in the crypto space that speak, whoever they are, that I see genuine, you know, giving to the space, and giving a value to the space, not trying to get and everybody look at me and I'm this and I'm that. I see arterial motives with a lot of people and why they come into these spaces and do what they do. You understand? Not just the Twitter space. I'm talking about all these YouTube, I mean, all these social media spaces for people to be able to speak and put themselves in through a platform, and put their word out, or put their content out, right? And get people to look at them, be on stage, like the Twitter stages. But anyway, let's leave it like that. All right, thanks a lot, people. Take care. Until the next time, get with your bro, and peace.